Hey, what's up, Instagram? I'm about to go live here in the studio. Whatever. I'm on YouTube also. So as this is going on, I'm trying to get everything set up. If you guys want to join in, you can request to join in, and I will put you in the conversation. Um, gotta. This is the first time I've done this, so I'm working on muting a couple of things right now. Hope you guys are having a good day today, Monday morning. What's up, Dr. G? How you doing, man? I see you jumping on. Let's see. Um, Trying to get this thing set up real quick. It's basically a 30-minute little talk today, trying to get some interesting thoughts out there. I don't know if they're interesting; they're just my thoughts. Um, and trying to do all this one-man show. So just bear with me as I'm trying to get started. I know you probably got some things to do, but I appreciate you tuning in. Let's see, there was Facebook. I'm going to go to Facebook and copy this link and paste it on the page, and then we'll basically get ready. Um, Dr. G, I see that you're here. How's your day going? You can comment below. I'm um, watching the comments uh, while it's getting all loaded up. Of course, I don't need. Hello, Texas. How's it doing? How's it going? How's it going? It's a wave at you. I'm just here trying to get some things started. Linked over the YouTube page and the YouTube link. I'm busy finishing up some stuff for the nursing school. All right, yeah, man. Nursing right now. You guys, I'm sure, are going through hell in a handbasket with everything that's going on, and I know a lot of us are appreciative of what you guys are doing. So thank you for serving that elderly community right now in the hospice community too. There's probably some interesting conversations going on over there, and without people like you doing that stuff, I mean, who would? Um, so that's really cool that you guys are doing that. Um, and then let's see, Texas. I see you here. Let's see. I know. I'm almost ready. I'm almost ready. I'm pulling some stuff over. No, man. Thank you. Thank you. All right. This is. I mean, you're just. I'm. Thank you for coming onto the show and just chilling and listening with me while I'm about to talk about this stuff. I'm a newbie, but that's okay. An expert in anything with once a beginner. All right. Just remember that. Um, Let me see here. Create a post. All right, here we go. Technology. I'm usually pretty good with technology, but right now I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Even though there's only two people watching, but that's okay. On Instagram, anyways. There might be some on Facebook or YouTube. Oh, so this is called the Leadership Live. Live. Leadership Live. And come on and join. Yeah. Boom. And post. All right, cool. Post it on Facebook. Not sure anybody's gonna hop on there, but I posted. So we're rocking and rolling. So hope everybody is having a great day today. It's about 1:02 on Monday. Um, Kind of this morning, I've been trying to stick to a schedule, so I got up about 7:30 and work started to do my morning journaling, morning reading process that I usually go through. And then I worked out for the first time, probably well, I worked out with my wife about 2 weeks ago. I hated it. I was a jerk too whenever that went on. But thankfully, this time she was still asleep. And yeah, so I worked out. That was nice. Got to go outside and do some of that. Trying to get into a groove of working out 3 days a week. At this point in time, there's a lot of things that I've been trying to do, or as I'm teaching, I've said, well, if I had more time, I would do that. Well, now I have all this time, and trying to do the things that I initially wanted to do. as part of what's going on now. So working out, journaling, things like that. And then I went up to school, got some supplies, just giving you guys an overview of my morning. I know, so exciting. So exciting. What's up, business bros? I see you. Um, so went up to school, got a couple supplies, got some, as you guys can see on Instagram, you got white or yellow paper, but it's actually my green screen. So high tech, we're rolling in tech here in Texas. Got some paper and got a couple other supplies for the show. And here we are. Took me about an hour to get it set up and ready to rock and roll. And here we are. So basically, today, the Leadership Live is I'm giving you guys some context as to why I'm doing this. So kind of with that, I'll tell the story, kind of the story of my life. And ultimately, the story isn't to give you information about me, but maybe it's you have an opportunity to connect with it at some form or fashion. We all have stories and they're all important, right? We're all going through coronavirus right now. That story and that context matters. And so what I want you guys to know is while I'm doing this, hey Mason, what's up, cuz? How you doing? Um, so as this is going on, I'm trying to give you guys some context as to where I'm coming from, and hopefully you guys can come out of your shell a little bit if you're a business owner, or even if you're just a human, right? Share your content, create something to where um, you guys are recording your story. I mean, something that hit me a couple weeks ago really hard was this recording stuff is not, it's truly about the future me and my future children and maybe potentially their children. So all of these photos and all these videos that I'm recording, it's cool, like, hey, look at me, I'm doing this stuff. But at the same time, it's an opportunity for me to leave a legacy for my future family, and for me to connect with my cousin Mason, who just hopped on here, or anybody else who doesn't have somebody to look up to. And I'm not saying I'm the best person ever to look up to, because I definitely have my shortcomings. But in the grand scheme of things, I know through times in my life and even today, I'm looking for people who I can emulate and who I could follow. And so I'm just hoping that as I'm recording and documenting this process of podcasting and leadership and things like that, that it's something for people to follow and connect with. So that's long-winded to get on to the story, and the story of basically me, Nolan Hoskins, and where I've come from to where I am today. So I was born in 91. I'm 20 years old. Um, Amarillo, Texas. Um, Basically, sports was my entire life growing up. About 5 years old, I started playing baseball. We didn't play baseball before then with a team because the opinion, and I agree with this opinion of my father, was, well, they're not going to get anything done in T-ball. I know there's camaraderie and there's sports and there's interaction that we're missing right now with Corona, and I get that. But at the same time, my dad, just being someone who wanted me to be a successful athlete, he was thinking about, well, how much is really going to get done on the T-ball field? And I would I would say that I would probably tend to agree with that. And for my kids in the future, whenever we start having them, like, that's something that I will be thinking about whenever I decide, or if we decide to push or not push them, but give them the opportunity to play t-ball or sports and things like that. So I played baseball. I think select baseball became, or it was becoming, a bigger thing back in the 90s and 2000s. And so now, today's day and age, select baseball is 24/7, 365. It's crazy. And I have a lot of opinions about that, and I'm probably not gonna get into that today. But um, and Christiana, what's up? So select baseball, that meant I played baseball and 24/7 as much as I could. It was baseball, or in the off season up in Amarillo, it's winter time. We actually have snow, if you can imagine that. So I would play football or basketball, and I did like sports. I enjoyed sports. I also, like playing video games, and so spending some time with my best friend across the street, played a lot of video games. And of course, as any 10-year-old kid back in the late 90s and 2000s, like, your parents probably didn't want you playing video games as much as I did, and I understand that. Um, but to some extent, it was something that I was really enjoying. And although some people might say that kids will need to learn how to connect without looking at a screen, well, I know my best friend Sean and I, like, we connected very well playing video games, and we would play baseball in the street sometimes, but things like that. So from there, about 10 years old, got into junior high. And I remember 8th grade year was the first year that I had ever not made a sports team. I'm currently a middle school science teacher. I teach 6th grade. I love kids, because it's basically what I missed whenever I was their age. And so in 8th grade, I missed sports for the first time. And basically my dad, the next day after I found out I didn't make the team, they asked me to come back onto the team. And I was, that'd be cool. It's Basketball wasn't my main sport, but that'd be fine. But my dad at home at the time, he said, "If they didn't want you the first time, then they don't deserve you now," type thing. And so then I went ahead and decided to be a manager for the team, and I got involved in doing things as a manager on the staff. I got to travel, and it was a lot of fun. But I wasn't really focused on basketball. I mean, it's baseball for sure. Then moving up to high school, I know freshman, sophomore year, I always had a chip on my shoulder, but it didn't really motivate me to do certain things or not do certain things as far as working out and things like that. But my junior and senior year, um, it jumped, and I got a fire lit under my rear end by my sister, who motivated me and encouraged me and found the best way to push me going forward. And it just lit a fire under me. So my junior and senior year, I was on varsity for the first time. And junior year, I blew up in playoffs. Like, it was great. Had a great playoffs. We went really far. We were about one round away from the regional final in Texas, and that was awesome. This is probably my favorite baseball season in high school. And then my senior year, I had my best friend Jeremy and I at the time. We would work out every morning, and so he was my accountability partner at that time. And we just busted it together all senior year, both of us. And that senior year, it was amazing. I didn't lead the team. I was second on the team in home runs, and it was awesome. I ended up being voted onto the second team all state baseball team as a first baseman for 4A baseball. And that was really cool. We made it second round of playoffs. And it's baseball was like, I had that chip on my shoulder, and I had the passion and the will, and the willingness to do the work and put in the work to get there. My freshman year in college, I got a chip on my shoulder still a little bit from high school. So my freshman year in college, like, I was not as skilled, because in the Panhandle, coaches seem to think that Panhandle baseball players are a little bit behind the Metroplex in South Texas and Central Texas. And that is what it is. But I worked my tail off, and I, just wanted to prove to the coaches that I was worthy of starting. Well, a week before our first game, I wasn't probably going to be the starter, but we had about 6 guys get caught drinking in the dorm. Well, because of that, I was able to start that first weekend. And from then on, I did not miss a game for the rest of my freshman year, because of like my ability to work hard at the time and just be, I wasn't great. I hit about 300 in college, but I was a dirtbag, I guess you could say, in a good sense. And so from college, we moved, from junior college to Sul Ross. My sophomore year declined. A lot of personal things going on in my life. Began to be mentored by a college professor, Mr. Yerger at Frank Phillips, and I appreciate that so much. And that kind of started the fire for some other things into my life. And then at Sul Ross, there's a big story in my life there that pushed me to, it didn't push me, but I fell away from working out and being intentional about being a good baseball player, and just kind of got into this space and this lull of just like, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? And what kind of life am I living? That type of thing. So from that, I started meeting at the BSM, my buddy Kent Barlow. So Kent Barlow got into my life, and he just started loving me, man. He started loving me and treating me like, he didn't care what I thought or care what I did or didn't do. Like, he just wanted me to be involved in his life, and he wanted to be involved in my life. And so continuing to be mentored by him, and just finding the true value of mentorship at that time was, I mean, it was incredible. And to this day, like, this is why, like, big why on why I'm trying to start this podcast and start this whole series of Leadership Live, is because mentorship has meant so much to me that now the things that I have learned through that and continue to learn, because I definitely don't know anything right now. Um, but the things that I continue to learn through mentorship, like, they're lessons that can be taught to you guys. And so we go to from college, and I move out to Houston. I work in Houston for a year, and I worked with a great college baseball program there at the University of Houston for a year. I learned a lot about, I thought I wanted to be a college baseball coach, and at that level, it's a different animal. And now I understand why people get in there and people don't. And I don't want to discourage or encourage anybody on that aspect who's listening, but Division I baseball is a different beast. It's fun to be there, but it's just kind of it's different. And so going from Division I baseball to I worked there for a year at U of H as a manager. I wasn't a coach. I was a manager for the baseball team. And then I went to my wife, now at the time girlfriend. She got a job at Scott and White here in Temple. And so we moved to Temple, and I volunteered at Temple College for a year and a half. So Temple College for a year and a half. I got to actually coach over there. So that was great. Good opportunity for me. And there at the end, I was starting to do more things that I'm interested in, like mental conditioning and mental strength and strategies to help the baseball players and the baseball teams, develop mentally inside the game as well as outside the game. And in December of that year, I think 2017, maybe December 2017, I decided I wanted to get out and start making some money. And so I became a teacher, right? I'm going to get out, start making some money. And so I'm going to become a teacher. Well, I didn't have any kind of certification. And so at the time, there was an opening as a paraprofessional in our mental and emotional disorder kids program in public schools. So it's like kids with oppositional defiance disorder and come from crazy backgrounds at home. And I was a parapro, so I wasn't getting paid too much, but it was an opportunity to be working with kids and really to be working with people who really needed that intentional care. And so from there, we moved to, I got my teaching certificate, whatever you call it, got that teaching certificate, and then I started teaching. So now this is year two. Year one, crazy. So any of you teachers out there, please reach out. Like, if you're about to be a teacher, or if you want to be a teacher, please reach out. Like, that first year is going to be the craziest time of your life. There's so much highs, so much lows. I can't imagine being a first year teacher right now with COVID going on, but like, please reach out if you're teaching and you need somebody to listen. I'm here to listen for that, because I know that whenever I was there, it was nice to have people who had been there and understood what I was going through. So again, if you're a teacher, please reach out. Awesome stuff. So from teaching that first year, teaching the second year, now it's been so much better. Like, I have all of the stuff built up from last year, and started to get in routines. And then Corona hits, right? Corona hits, and here's spring break. And spring break happens, we're off for a week, and then the Friday of spring break, they extended another week. And then a couple weeks ago, or last week, they extended it to the end of April. So now I'm at a point in my life where I've always been reflectional, but not really action based. I've thought, and I've let the fear of failing and the fear of what other people had to say about me keep me from doing the things that I truly thought that I wanted to do, or what I was called to be. And so now this season is kind of an opportunity for me. Sorry, YouTube, if you guys are watching, I'm like looking at Instagram this entire time because they're interacting over here, and I'm not watching YouTube for comments and things. So if you're over there, you may not be, like, no one might be watching live, and that's fine. But anyways, that's where I am today. As over the last several years, been reading listening to podcasts, reading audiobooks, and my podcast, the Central Texas Business Podcast, is an opportunity for me to get out these things that I have been learning over the years. And again, I don't know everything, but what I do know is that for me to learn, I have to teach it. And I want to be able to teach and share this information with you guys. I want to give you guys the opportunity to interact with me. So whether it be through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever. Like, find me. It's at Syntex Business Podcast on Instagram. It's Central Texas Business Podcast on Facebook. On Twitter, it's the Syntex Podcast. On YouTube, my page is in Hoskins 25. And I'm also on LinkedIn at Nolan Hoskins. And you guys don't hesitate to also find me on my personal stuff. It's Nolan Hoskins. Or at Hoss the Boss 25. Yeah, back in the day, that was a nickname, was Hoss from junior high, because I always had a chip on my shoulder. And now I kind of have a chip on my shoulder, but it's not necessary. Like, I don't think it's necessary for me to have a chip on a shoulder to be successful anymore. I think that once something that I'm very passionate about is teaching and coaching and helping people get from where they are to where they want to be. Once I'm in that lane, I don't have to have a chip on my shoulder, because I'm doing something that I totally love doing, and I love helping others get from where they are to where they want to be. And so over the next, at least until the end of April, we're going to meet 3 times a week on this Leadership Live. Today, again, was basically an intro about why I'm doing this. I'm very interested to see if any of you guys, if the story resonates with y'all or connects with y'all, or if y'all went through similar experiences or different ones. Your story matters. And I mean, I'm trying to show you guys right now that I believe that the story matters. Not necessarily my story personally matters. It matters to me, but it could matter to my children in 30 years, or my grandchildren in 60 years, whenever the internet is still going and it's got all this stuff stored up and we can find it for them. So just the opportunity to leave a legacy for future generations of my lineage, and hopefully continue to impact people as maybe I have in the past, or will be doing in the future. So ultimately, thank you guys so much for coming on and sitting down. I know I scheduled this for about 30 minutes today. It's been about 20 minutes. And right now, typically I'll have some people, if people are interested in coming on to the Zoom chat with me, like, we can hop in. If you're on the Instagram and you wanted to hop in and say some things, you can just scroll up to the top and request to come in, and you can join in live with me too. And we can just talk and see how things are going. Or you can share your story, or you can share your thoughts on leadership as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this a good first episode, or a good intro episode. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your Monday. I hope that you have the opportunity to be intentional about doing the things that you've always wanted to do in this season, like spending more time with your friends or with your family. And that you can't necessarily do it with your friends right now. But being intentional about doing the things that you have always been wanting to do, because now is a season for resting and looking and observing and acting on those things. So this is Nolan Hoskins with the Central Texas Business Podcast. I appreciate you guys coming on and listening to my thoughts and my rambles. And I hope to see you guys Wednesday at 3:00 on the show. Thanks for coming. If you're still here, I see there's 2 people on Instagram. Thanks, guys, for listening. Y'all take it easy. All right, YouTube, thanks for checking us out. Instagram is down. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and reach out to me if you have any questions or thoughts, or maybe if you think I'm a goober. I don't know. I'm probably a goober. Y'all have a good one. Bye, guys.